Before we get into this morning's live, I'm going to give this a minute to load up, make sure everything's going okay. But it does take a second for YouTube to load up. I want to make sure whether or not this is in the right display that I want it on. I don't know. Not this is in the right display that I want it on. Good. So this morning YouTube set it up the way I would like, so we don't have to deal with any kind of screen issues. Tales from the Crypto Keeper, good morning. Good to see you in here, friend. Glad to see some of you showing up. Good morning, Jack. Welcome in, friend. So we got an interesting show this morning for sure. Good to go. Good morning, Crazy Pull. Thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 6 months with the XRP Predictor. The Gatman, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year or 2 years with the XP 589 Moon Badge. Timothy Perez, welcome in. Thanks for being in Tom's Army for 2 months with the Dusty's Outhouse Crypto News. Jorge, good morning. Thanks for being a very trusted mod and being in Tom's Army for over 6 months with the XP Predictor. G Wise, Jay from X, welcome in. John Hall, good morning, brother. Good to see you in here this morning. Love seeing all of you showing up. And John, I hope you're having a blessed start to the day as well. It's going to be a good day. We're having a good day so far. It started out a little hot. We'll take a look across the board with XRP. What exactly the most likely scenario is the rest of this weekend. Martin, good morning. Vinny, welcome in. Valentino, good morning. XRP King. Aaron R., thanks for being in Tom's Army for your second month with the Dusty's Outhouse Crypto News. G Wise, yes, Hidden Road was a big deal. We talked about it a couple days ago, but I got other things to talk about today as well. Steven, good morning. Welcome in from Australia. Love it. Papa Wheelie, good morning, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 6 months with the XRP Predictor. Peregrines, welcome in. I be killing. Good morning to you, friend. So what we're going to talk about this morning is one, obviously we see XRP's having a nice little bullish push here. Ethereum's up 3.14 million. I mean 3.29% or $52 token right now. Yes, 50 million supposedly was sent. That's already been escrowed. That's already in the escrow. It's been there. That $50 million is sent to be sent to the SEC. That's already been in an account that's been increasing with its interest and things like that. But there's a few things we can go over today. One, USDT had some fun overnight. USDT was having fun printing money overnight. And this is a great sign if we want to have an end to this 4-month straight streak of red weekends. We talked about it coming into the weekend, how this looked like the best setup possible to get out and break this 4-month slump. And it seems like we're starting to trend in that direction. With the emergence of USDT printing all of this money, this is a better than not sign that we could be busting out of this bearish zone and that we could finally be starting to push on some bullishness here. XRP maintained that $1.94 when it came down to the 200-day. Now it's over the $1.98. And now our first resistance is up at $2.08, $2.09. Once we push past there, then we'll be able to push out to the technical push up and the short-term breakout at $2.25. We need to push past the resistance at $2.29, however. So we'll take a look at this with the USDT printing. We'll take a look at what James K. Phelan put out yesterday. He talks about the parties that filed a joint motion to hold the appeal in ambiance based on the parties' agreement to settle. The settlement is awaiting commission approval. No brief will be filed on April 16th. So what Ripple is going to do is void now. They don't have to do it. And then we'll read through this exactly what James K. Phelan put. These are the official documents, so no reason to, guess on what's going on. Frankie Fresh, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 6 months, or the second month of the Dusty's Outhouse Crypto News, along with James Dula. Kat, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 3 months with the XRP Meteor. Greatly appreciate that. So we got a lot of stuff to talk about. Kat says, good morning from Canada. It's a mess up here. Need to stay away from the Canadian dollar and banks. It's the same here. The U.S. dollar is getting absolutely brutalized. The U.S. dollar actually closed the week under 100 paring. So it's not even paired to it's not even at 100 anymore. So now for every $100 you spend in the USA, the best way to look at this is your $100 bill is worth $99.78 right now. Does that feel good? Before we were overinflated when it was at 104, it was like our $100 bill. It was able to be used as $104. The best way to look at this now is that the US dollar, $100 can only be used and it's only worth 99.78. That's horrible. You're below that 1-to-1 pairing, in my opinion. And gold was telling us it all week. Gold was up several $100 during the week. If you look at the last 5 days, it was actually up $222.59 or 7.38% in 5 days. That's a huge move for gold. Just huge move for gold. Silver was up 10.6% on the week, or up over $3 an ounce. Some of the miners had a great week. Let's see. We got Barrick Gold was up 20% or $3.44 a share. B2 Gold was up 24.86% over the last 5 days, or 65 cents a share. Pan America Silver was up 23.24% over the past 5 days, or $4.88. First Majestic was up 14.78% or 81 cents per share. And then Fortuna Silver Mines was up 25.83% this past week, or $1.33 per share. So there was definitely opportunity in mining stocks. Gold and silver is continuing to go parabolic. We've got the chances of silver going to 50 by end of year. I'd say there's about a 55% chance. I still think 50 might be a little early in 25, but it all depends on how we go through the midsummer time. As long as we continue to build the way we are right now, and they continue to point towards cutting rates and quantitative easing, gold and silver is going to go massive. Silver is very much undervalued, so I can definitely understand taking a look there before gold. And in fact, if I was buying gold, I wouldn't even buy gold right now. I'd buy mining stocks, the ones that get the gold out of the ground. Now, obviously, I said that last week before this 5-day run, but, you know. Yeah, scrap silver is beautiful. So let me do the intro so I don't forget, and then let's get into this because I have a lot of information to talk about. It's a beautiful, blessed Saturday morning for us all to be together. We've got 78 people here this morning so far. I'm surprised. I'm surprised more people aren't interested this morning just for the fact that we're in a bullish positioning right now. This is everything we talked about going into the weekend. We felt like this was our first chance in 4 months to break the bearish bias. And generally a good indicator, an outlier of that, is when less people show up. More people were... This was the weirdest downturn in the sense of we were down like 40-50% from the top. And then all of a sudden on this last drop, the one that everybody should have been interested in buying, most of the people that were buying the dip the whole way down decided not to buy the dip. And to me, it was a pretty interesting thing. People were buying it all the way down, but then once it got to the actual bottom, most people gave up. And that was a contrarian indicator for me that, hey, these people that have a whole bunch of money on the sidelines aren't buying back in. And, you know, they decided not to put it in this time. After buying every step of the way down, they decided not to buy the most important step. And that's why I kept pushing the point that everybody's buying the dip, but we're not actually on the right dip to buy yet. Like we're pissing our money away by throwing it into buying the dip, but you can't buy the dip till you get to the real dip. In this scenario, the real dip wasn't between $3.40 and $2. It was that range when it went down to $1.63. Then you could have bought the dip from like $1.65 to $1.50 if it decided to go down that far. That's why I gave my blessing last week. Finally, I know some of you know going into Sunday and Monday, I gave my blessing to buy. And then all of a sudden we went parabolic here. You know, the price went from $1.60 something all the way up to $2.08. So, I mean, that's a quick 24% there. You had DGB come all the way back down to 0.084. And now it's up over 1 cent again. It's clearly over 1 cent. I know Jennifer's happy seeing this morning. I even talked about one that when everybody thought they missed everything, and this isn't no guarantee to keep going up, but this was still at 0.084, 0.083. And in the Telegram, I was being asked, what would you buy? And I said, ZBAC. ZBAC down here, when everything else had run, I thought was a great opportunity. And now anybody who bought into ZBAC, just when I showed it on here in the Telegram, you'd be up 14% right now. Even if you missed that initial push up by most things, this was still set up. So now you can make a decision today. Hey, you don't even want to ride it. You could sell it right now for 14%. Can you go back outside into the wind? Could be bullish for XRB. Thanks for being human. I know. It actually pushed us in the right direction being out in that wind yesterday. Now, today, fortunately, I have my normal setup. My son's doing his feeding in his room with mom. And, you know, we can do this in a general consensus and or a general way that where it can be the best opportunity. Oh, we're going to look at DGB. I just wanted to make sure to talk about ZBET there as it was up 14% in the last day and a half, 2 days. So we'll see if we get the continuation. Total crypto market cap's up 1.15% to 2.627 trillion. We've got the total 3 market cap, which is outperforming Bitcoin and Ethereum. These are all altcoins outside of Bitcoin and Ethereum, up 1.67%, so outperforming the total market cap. And then Bitcoin dominance, a good sign here is it's down 31 cents or 0.5%. And it seems to be rounding a possible top here. This is what we're hoping for, that this was more of a shoulder. This creates a head. We don't push out of here and push out to the next range, but we stay within this. Because if we're looking at this honestly, I still think that Bitcoin is in a bearish pennant unless it breaks out. Because you have that you have lower highs and higher lows, which makes it a bearish pennant. I like Mini Tom better. Yeah, a lot of people like Mini Tom better. But then you can't see Tom. Daily time frame. I mean, the weekly still leaves a lot to be desired because that is a weekly engulfing to the top side. And it's back testing a weekly breakout. So the fact there's only 1 day and 11 hours left definitely leads to a little instability here. And we need to see if this breaks down or breaks out. Right now, it's starting off in our favor. Got a lot of different tokens to talk about. We'll look at XLM. We'll look at HBAR. We'll look at DGB. We'll look at Algo. We'll take a look at IOTA as it's starting to heat up here a little bit, up 2.85% this morning. So it looks like, we talked about IOTA. It looks like IOTA's starting to get hot here too. And we had our first target at 1740. You guys know I have a little short or a little long here. Seems to be doing okay right now. I think it's up like $100 and something. Nothing crazy. But yeah, definitely we're definitely pushing up a little bit here, and it's not just XRP. We've got a lot of different tokens that are looking like it looks like this is about to push out, and we could get hot here. That money printing is no joke. You know, that money printing is not a joke, and that's usually what I look at as a contrarian indicator, you know, of what exactly is going on in this market. And right now, with the way the USDT's been printed, I mean, this could make it very spicy this weekend. Algo's up 6%. I mean, we talked bullish going into this weekend for the first time in 4 months, which was a weird feeling yesterday and the day before. But just knowing that this was probably the likely scenario. And then you look for a catalyst, and to me, you start to see USDT printing major amounts of money. So you had Tether Treasury printing from or transfer from Tether Treasury USDT to the Treasury to HTX. You had USDT printed from transfer from HTX to Tether Treasury. So I'm not exactly sure what's going on here. But you had a bunch of money being moved through. You had like 1 billion USDT or USD minted at Tether Treasury at 1246. You had at 1246, you see the money transfer from HTX to Tether Treasury. And then you've got transfer from Tether Treasury to HTX. So I don't know what kind of nonsense they're pulling here, but clearly money's being offloaded and reloaded and back offloaded. And a lot of money's going to pour its way into the market just based on that fundamental right there. And that's all we need to see. That's all we need to see. So good morning. 9:17 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Saturday, April 12th. 2025. I'm XRP Future Millionaire, and I reside in the great state of Michigan. So if you're watching, make sure to hit that like button. 107 people in here already, but only 30 people have hit that like button. It's like 1/3 of the audience. 1/3, not even 1/3. So if you want this to push around and you want more people to see this, you're going to have to hit that like button. We definitely slack on that. I don't talk about it anymore, but it's definitely a slacker, and it's a dead zone for my content. Too many people don't hit the like button, and it makes it porous when it comes to the algorithm. If you want me to talk about other things that I want to talk about, more than 1/3 of you are going to have to hit that like button. If only 27% of you are hitting the like button, there's 0% chance I'm going to cover things other than what I want to. And that's not me being a dick. That's just me being honest. You got to do something for me if I'm doing all this work for free for you. And if you can't even hit the like button for me, doesn't give me much confidence. So, let's see. Short term, 88,500 if Bitcoin can get out of this short-term consolidation. I don't want this one set up. I want to take out the short-term first before we can start throwing to the top side. I would like to take out these lower levels. We have this nice inverse head and shoulder set up perfectly on Bitcoin. We broke above, and now we need to push past 83,590 and hold. Then we'll push up to that next layer to 88,600. 88,600 should be the first initial push up. Looks like a nice inversion. My only question is that if we don't push out immediately, are we going to start riding down into Monday and then swing up? But it does look like we have some major positivity to the top side. Yes, Jennifer, I did. And thank you for being in Tom's Army for over 3 months with the XRP Meteor. Hey, Jennifer, sometimes I don't speak up and talk about it, but then, I'd rather this channel, hey, I look out for you, you look out for me. And the only way you can really look out for me is to make sure my content gets pushed around. And by hitting that like button, it definitely does help. Let's see. Jorge, thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 6 months with the XP Predictor and being a very trusted mod. We are our own best advocates indeed, Jennifer. So I figured instead of getting mad at people who are mean to me in the comments, I'll just tell people to hit the like button. Or hit the dislike button. See, if you hate me so much, you can hit the dislike button. It all goes the same way. I wish I could, but I got all the kids in the house right now, so that is a no-go. But Bitcoin is definitely giving us some confidence. We broke out of the second layer of resistance, and that's our zone. If we get past that, we're in some business. I think we're in some business right now. We're standing on business right now, unless Bitcoin loses that 83,000 level. You could even go to 82,400. And we're also standing on business as long as XRP stays over $1.98. Like, we are on business right now. Up 3.13%. And then this next movement, see that $1.98, $1.99 in real time? That puts us up to right around $2.25. If I'm being honest, that's the jump out that I've been waiting for. We have a resistance pivot point at 229. Once you get above 229, that opens the door to 265. Kryptonian, good morning, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So Bad. Good morning. Driving to Utah right now. Hey, you be safe, Kryptonian. I'm glad that I could be on here. I'm glad that I could be talking and that you can listen to me through your radio. I don't really want you looking at your phone, but if you're listening to me like a podcast, that would be great. Miss Erica, welcome in. Love, I'm so happy to see you in here as well. I seen Cape Cod Kyle was in here. Kyle Kupiak. Not to be confused, he is not the brother of Jennifer Kupiak and Joseph Kupiak. He is just a like-minded individual who has the same last name. Small world we live in. Small world we live in. Just like that, Tom. Hey, thank you very much. Nobody's bad. Nobody's bad. I'm just letting everybody know. Hit that like button for Tom. Sean Crothers, welcome in, my main man from Maine, and also a very, very trusted mod. Has been in this community forever. Brought us the infamous info about the turbo pump early last year, which turned a couple $1,000s into like 13 or 12 for me. I mean, it was an amazing, amazing call he made. Joseph Kupiak, welcome, and he is in here as well. The Kupiaks are in full force. Brother and sister and incumbent, which is Cape Cod Kyle. 30 Dozens, good morning, welcome in. It is a beautiful sunrise outside right now. Even in our AI behind us, it's a beautiful sunrise, if we can see it. Actually, nope, can't see it. It's already passed. Yes, always like and chat. That is for sure. One thing I want to read, though. We're very excited, right? We're very excited. Where did my glasses wipe? Oh, here it is. We're very excited. My left eye is just being my left eye right now. Sensitive. I have keratoconus and yada, yada, yada. But anyhow, we got to read this thing with XRP. We have to read that before I forget. We're going to DGB after, though, because DGB is up 5.3% right now. Jennifer, remember when it made the dump? And we were getting a lot of questions on the Telegram about, did we already miss the point on XRP? And somebody asked, oh, if it's under 1 cent, is it a buy? DGB is always a buy if you don't own it. The farther under 1 cent it gets. And it's given many opportunities. Even when it came back up here to 1.1, it immediately dropped back down to 8.4. So, I mean, that was a perfect opportunity there on Monday. And then you had another opportunity Thursday when it dropped down to 8.9. So, I mean, just from Monday, DGB's up 21%. So, it's a beautiful little guy, this one is. Or this our little baby. And eventually, DGB, she's going to break out. And that's a nice little bull flag here on the weekend that should bring us up towards these upper boundaries. Yes, we're going to have to get through this stupid zone right here because we created a resistance. I understand. We have a bigger pattern. I also can see the smaller pattern. So we have to get past this, which we will. As long as this plays out, we're going to be the top side and back test this from the top. And that's what we need to do. The one thing we're trying to avoid, and it's something that we have to pay attention to. And don't shoot the messenger if this were to break down. But if I'm looking at it like this, one could argue, you could argue maybe that we were in a rising wedge or something, because that's what a lot of people were arguing about, these little patterns. And this is all they did was they connected the dots like this. The problem with using a rising wedge in such a small area like this, it's actually in a further consolidation. So like when you start looking at this maybe as a rising wedge, it could get you in trouble. Because the overall outlier, even if you come from back here, you have to look at it like something like that. So just looking at it in that short-term narrative could get you in trouble. I would suspect you would look at it more like that and just have this expand. I don't know if you want to call it maybe an ascending triangle. I don't know. But this looks like a typical consolidation where we're getting from these swing lows to the swing highs very, very quickly and very, very abruptly. And right now we're attempting a breakout. And this little area right here could very well start pushing us up to that next narrative point. And you got to get up there before you stop this back and forth sideways consolidation. But this would get you over this area. And that's all we're looking to do with this little push. I'm telling you, if we can just get over this and finally start holding this crappy area and just go and then shoot out and do this, then you're going to shoot up to that next area. It'll be very simple. And then you could work on this next layer of this move. And I like that USDT treasury printing. I really do. Because then we're looking at 4, then a back test. Then you're looking at an additional 15% over that last 26. Now all of a sudden you're at 41% from that drop to 8.4 to 0084. Now we're starting to cook. But being the weekend, stop it right now. 6:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time to 7 a.m. I give a little extra time on the weekend. 9:30 a.m. to 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time is when we have to see if we're going to get downward volatility because the U.S. is waking up. As somebody said, like the West Coast might not be in here yet as much because they would be sleeping. And it's only 6:26 a.m. right now. I get that. So we can front run this in the Eastern Standard Time Zone and see what's going on by covering this early. But at the same time, we might walk ourselves into a little bit of bearish bias as we get around this time. Tanya, welcome in, love, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 2 years with the XRP 589 Moonbeds. Says, I'm here, Tom, but running around. I'm used to that on these fast-paced, busy weekends for you, Tanya. But I'm so blessed that you're here watching this as well. I really am. I love seeing everybody in here. XRP's pushing that $2.10. Hopefully we'll just, like I said, with that USDT being printed, hopefully this is one of those weekends where we're just soaring. Now let's read this. James K. Phelan shared this. And what are we, about 20 minutes into this? 25 minutes. So yeah, it's a good time to share this. And thank you to the 86 people that hit the like button. That's much better than 30%. Now we're over probably 60%. So the parties have filed, and this is from James K. Phelan's verified X account. The parties have filed a joint motion to hold the appeal in ambiance based on the parties' agreement to settle. The settlement is awaiting commission approval. No brief will be filed on April 16th. So this is the SEC versus Ripple Labs. So this is docket number 24-2648. So it says joint motion to hold appeal and cross appeal and abeyance. Trading with J Ride, thank you so much for the $10 donation and also being in Tom's Army for over 3 years with the XRP Diamond Hands badge. I don't care about jackasses complaining today. That's not on my agenda list. Doesn't care about the jackoffs today. So I'm just going to keep reading. Set forth below, precise complete statement of relief sought. The parties jointly request that this court place this appeal and cross appeal and abeyance, with the Securities and Exchange Commission directed to file a status report with 60 days of the stay order. Let's see. Securities and Exchange Commission. Emergency motions. They don't have anything there. So opposing counsel's position is unopposed. Does opposing counsel intend to file a response? No. Has movement notified opposing counsel? Yes. U.S. District Court for Southern District of New York. An oral agreement on motion requested? No. Has argument date of appeal been set? No. This was on April 10th. And now we've got United States. So the United States Court of Appeal for the Second Circuit, United States Securities and Exchange Commission, Plaintiff Appellate Cross Appeal, Appellee, Ripple Labs Inc. Defendant, Bradley Garlinghouse, Christian A. Larsons. And then it shows that interveners, let's see, Jordan Deaton, James Lamonte, Maya Lamonte, Tyler Lamonte, blah, blah, blah. Those are the more interveners. On appeal from a final order of the U.S. District Court for the Southern District of New York. Joint motion to hold appeal and cross appeal and ambience. Securities and Exchange Commission Appellate Court Cross Appellee. Ripple Labs Inc. Cross Appellant Bradley Garlinghouse, yada, 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 so on and so forth. Larson jointly moved to hold these appeals and abeyance in light of parties having reached an agreement in principle subject to commission approval to resolve the underlying case. The commission's appeal and Ripple's cross appeal and abeyance would conserve judicial and party resources while the parties continue to pursue a negotiated solution of this matter. Hold on, I gotta go blow my nose real quick. Take me less than a minute. All right, sorry about that. Oh, it's going to be a good day today, too. Julie's mom's coming over in a little bit, so we can go to the farmer's market for the first time in a couple months. I'm so excited. All right, let's see. So in Ripple's cross appeal and buying, blah, 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 resource, blah, blah. So on October 3rd, 2024, the commission filed a notice of appeal from the district court's final judgment. On October 10th, 2024, Ripple filed a notice of cross appeal from the district court's final judgment. On January 15th, 2025, the commission filed its opening brief. So if you're new, catching you up real quick this morning. Hope we don't give it all back. All this momentum back tomorrow. That's what I'm afraid of. But yep, that's what everybody's afraid of. But USDT printed a bunch of money. The Tether Treasury printed a bunch of money. So that is a good sign. That is a good sign. We got some new moons popping up. That's also a good sign. Yada, 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 so on and so forth. Let's see. On January 15th, 2025, the commission filed its opening brief. On January 31st, 2025, this court issued scheduling orders establishing April 16th, 2025 as the deadline for Ripple's response and opening brief, and for Garlinghouse's and Larson's brief response. That was then number 5. There was a good cause for the parties' joint request that this court put these appeals in abeyance. The parties have reached an agreement in principle subject to commission approval to resolve the underlying case, the commission's appeal and Ripple's cross appeal. The parties require additional time to obtain commission approval for this agreement in principle, and if approved by commission, to seek an indicative ruling from the district court. An abeyance would conserve judicial and party resources. Moreover, no party would suffer prejudice as a result of the abeyance, and all parties to appeal and cross-appeal consent to it. Accordingly, the parties request that this court place this appeal and the cross-appeal and abeyance with the commission directed to file a status report within 60 days of the stay order. So we've got 60 days. That puts us out until June 10th, roughly. So June 10th, this will have to be decided upon. So, well, I would absolutely take a 50% pump to give. I would take a 50% pump today to give 30% back. Because then you'd have a better than 50% retracement, then you can continue up. If you're not seeing a 50% retracement after a big push up, you're probably done. It sucks to say that, but that's generally how it works. And I'm not talking about 50% from the spot it's at. I'm talking about 50% of the move up, not 50% down from where it's at on the chart. I'm talking about 50% of the move that was made initially. That's why when DGB went up like 14%, it dropped the whole way back down about 10. It just filled itself, and now it's actually layered itself out, and that's what you want to see. So that's what James K. Phelan said. I don't think there's anything else from Brad Garlinghouse that I haven't seen. Or like, we'll look through real quick just to make sure there's nothing we need to see from Brad. So Brad Garlinghouse put 14 hours ago. Great to be back with Liz Clayman today to chat about Ripple's historic acquisition of prime broker Hidden Road. Oh, this is important. We talked about this the other day. And what this means for the broader crypto market. As the U.S. takes a much-needed pro-innovation approach with new leadership, we're moving past the Securities and Exchange Commission's war on crypto and entering the next phase of the market. True institutional flows integrating with decentralized finance. Remember what Brad said not too long ago. XRP is not for retail, and soon they won't even be able to afford it. And like right now, 10,000 tokens cost you about 21 grand. You know, back in the day when we were buying it back in late 22, mid 23, all the way for one small moment in 24 when it at 38 cents, you're talking about less than $4,000 for 10,000 tokens. Now it's $17,000 more. Retail cannot afford that. Even if they wanted to, you can't. How many people in my audience watching right now can just afford to drop 21 grand on 10,000 tokens? Versus how many of you could have afforded to drop 10,000 tokens for 3,500 bucks? It's a huge difference. You know, it's a huge difference. JW, if you are listening, just like Jorge said, welcome in, my friend. And I'm glad to see you're always here watching, commenting, being a part of this. I always see you in the Telegram as well. Let's see if JW said anything in here. JW said, I'm loving the intimate group. Yes, JW, we see you too. I'm loving the intimate group as well. JW. And Julie said, hello, JW. No, we have to see him on Telegram commenting. But Julie says, hi, JW. You're always, we're always thinking about you, my friend, and we're glad that you're still upon us. So that was the $1.25 billion deal with Hidden Road. Now, the only other thing, we've seen James K. Feline. We've seen Brad Garlinghouse. Let's see. I'm not sure. I don't know if Stuart Alderodi would have anything to say about this. Let's see. Just you'll never know where you end up. I don't care about any of that fundamental bullshit, honestly. So there we go. XRP's over $2.10 now. This is phenomenal. Phenomenal. We're starting to push up in some of these. I'm actually waiting for a big surge in IOTA. IOTA back tested that breakout, and I'm looking for some kind of surge here in due time with IOTA. I really am. I feel like we're so close. Does anybody else get that feeling with IOTA? Like we are super close, and we've been waiting a long time. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just me who wants to see IOTA make that big push. I just think it's I think IOTA is positioned right now. Like it is positioned. I don't know if it's gonna pan off, but it definitely looks like it's positioned. That's what happens when I set low limit. But yep. Unfortunately, we want the money flowing into altcoins. Jason, I love you. Good morning, Julie. I love seeing everybody saying hi to everybody. So H-bar right now is up 2.27%. H-bar is another one that is getting pretty close, and it never gave this back, so we were waiting for this layer to push out. Let's see if we can find that lowest support. So, I mean, this should get it up here to retest this 18.7 cent mark. We've been in this descending, I would almost call it a wedge. It's very similar to a lot of different patterns that have set up. This is a bullish consolidation. And eventually, we should righten the ship here. We should break out. And then you're talking about, you know, in time coming back up to 35 cents and beyond. Still very undervalued here. I know it's already up from the bottom, like 400%, but it's also cut down from the top a pretty substantial mark from when we first started this rally. So, you know, if you go back here to October, then it takes all the way until here in January of 25 to finally hit this resistance again. And now from there, we're down 55%. So definitely, there's definitely a lot of opportunity out here. David Joel Cat Schwartz, acquisition of Hidden Road is defining more. Oh, that's a good, that, you know what? He's one that I actually missed. I'm glad somebody posted that. David Joel Cat Schwartz. I can't believe I didn't think of him. Although his never shows up because he's got a lot of fudsters that. I always forget because he's got the his Twitter thing doesn't show up like it used to on mine. Schwartz. No, I can't even spell his name. He's even, I don't know why. I always have problems finding him now because something got messed up in here. Whatever. Mr. Schwartz can say what he wants. I'll look at him later. XRP almost at $2.11. Now, this is great. Our push up here, we're watching for 225, and now it's finally starting to make that move. Getting over this 20-day right now is critically important at $2.09. We're over that very critical resistance. We've got to invalidate this bearish cross here in the daily, because if we don't invalidate it, then this right arm is going to finish pulling down, and it's going to be a problem. Imagine even a portion of that activity on the XRP ledger, and that's exactly what Hidden Road plans on doing. Nothing. Oof, it's true. That's a lot of volatility coming into the ledger. That's a transformative move too. Like with everything that's going on, that's a very transformative move. So if we do push up to that 225, which is what we're trying to do right now, is take out that resistance. And if we hold $1.99, that next resistance point, if we can take out 225, is all the way up there near $2.73. Now 265 is a pivot point, so you'd have to break past that. But it does give a very, very, very opportune chance here. I don't give one iota. A lot of people say that. See, Julie never says hi to me. What do you mean? Julie wasn't even in here watching this. She just said hi because I said JW's name. She's not looking at, she does very rarely look at the chat. She just hears me talking because she's been with our son, doing his feeding. He just got done. So now she's back, I think, in the bedroom. It's not that she doesn't say hi to you, George. She didn't even say hi to me. What the hell? No. I know you were, George. I know you were. But I was giving you validation that you didn't even say hi to me. So, you know, if I don't get a hi, neither can you. No, I'm just kidding. But L goes up 7.85%. Pushing up towards this resistance as well. But this is what we're doing right now. A lot of these have broken out of these descending consolidations, almost like descending wedges in the short time. Those are bullish consolidations. Bounce off absolutely perfectly here. And now we're starting to swing back up. And if we do, we're going to meet that 25-cent resistance, and we're going to decide from there. So as long as we don't lose the 20-day, we're coming up to that 25-cent mark. So if we hold that 18-cent, we should have no problem coming up to 25. That's also the 200-day through the daily coming through there as well. So that would either be a bearish rejection or the start of a push towards 57 cents if we could break out of this. There's really no in between. And I know it's crazy to say that, but there's really no in between here. Once this happens, you're going to have a massive breakout. A lot of cryptocurrency has this similar cup and handle built in the shorter term, and it's looking for a massive, powerful push out. Almost like the Hank Hill's ass right now. We're trying to just push out the right side of the ass cheek, and Hank Hill ass syndrome means he's got a flat ass. Well, although this one side is weird. But anybody who watched King of the Hill, we all know about Hank Hill ass syndrome, and I call it that when I see stuff like this. I'm new to crypto, so I've never seen upward trends. Always been taking the stairs down since January. Yep. And that's how they trap the new traders, because you come into a big bullish push, and then you're buying the stairs all the way down. And then what happens when it hits the perceived bottom where I finally told everybody to buy after that big consolidation? You run out of money. While us seasoned veterans are finally starting to put money back into certain areas. It's not that I have a sniper-like approach or I'm not a wizard. You know, I don't see things everybody else doesn't. But I understand things most can't see. That's the thing. Everybody can see what I'm seeing. You just need the experience to actually be able to see it. That's the hard part. That's the true hard part. Somebody says it will drop on Sunday for the 17th time. Just like I said coming into this weekend, don't be so sure about that. Because I thought this was the best weekend of the last 4 months. And I think it's the first weekend I talked about being bullish going into it in like 4 months. So going back to late December, I don't remember another weekend where I felt like this coming in. So we'll see. We'll see if we break down, because we very well could on the thinly traded weekend. Kenny, it's only surprising because it hasn't happened in 4 months. But I'm not surprised at all, because we've been positioning towards this weekend push. I don't ever buy leverage going into the weekend, but I've had it for over 2 days now in IOTA, and I didn't sell it. That to me says it all, that I had a lot of confidence going into at least the Saturday portion of the weekend. So we'll see, Kenny, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for your second month with the Dusty's Outhouse Crypto News. Richard, thank you for being in Tom's Army for 3+ months with the XP Meteor. Says, hi, Tom, who are you buying mining stocks through? I use the JP Morgan trading app, but you can also do it through Cash App for the ones I own. I used to go that route before, but then I shifted them last year to my JP Morgan trading app just for a little higher security with the high times of volatility and liquidity issues and all these fronts. But I buy the ones I own, I have through the JP Morgan trading app, and I have, you know, I don't know what XCN's deal is, because there's been false ties to certain things, and then it's being pumped up by a certain sector that I don't appreciate holding tokens that are just bump and dump tokens by YouTubers. So XCN, I wouldn't even wipe my ass with it, to be honest with you. Not that I don't appreciate the fact that it could be tied in some ways, but when a sector of YouTube is the ones pumping and dumping it, it's a piece of shit to me. I don't want something that's allocated for garbage. You know, I don't want to hold something long term that the only way it pumps and then it catastrophically dumps is when some douchebag tells his audience to do it. Now, if it's listed somewhere else, that could be something, but to me it doesn't, I don't like it. You know, I don't know. It's not that I don't like it, it's that I don't like the way it gets propped up. And yeah, I've heard, here's what I've heard. XCN is tied to JP Morgan. Some are saying XCN is tied to Stellar. You know, so what are you supposed to believe? And it's not even if it was tied to Stellar, it's not that I hate it. I've said this before. I don't hate it. It's just that douchebag who keeps pumping and dumping it. It's a problem for the ones who are buying at the wrong times. Like, there was a lot of people that bought at 5 cents and watched it go down 90% and then just sold it out. And now they're watching the rebound and like, what the fuck's going on? So, but yeah, I hold Barrick Gold, B2 Gold. I own Pan America Silver, First Majestic Silver, and Fortuna. I personally have been trying to invest deeper into that. I've been telling you guys about this pump up to 225 for how many days? So I don't sugarcoat it. If you're watching my content and it shows a more bullish narrative, that guy is like a new and improved BitBoy. I would just say he's the same shiller like everybody else. But this is a little bit of a push. Now we need to see follow through. This is what I was excited about going into the weekend. Now will it follow through? We don't know. We need to break past 225, then 229. First step over 208 was successful. Now we have to make, or 209. Now we have to make sure we just maintain. So far, so good. Every metric we've seen push towards a push on this weekend. The entire week. And everybody was going to be like, oh, it hasn't gone up for all these weekends. I'm certainly not buying before the weekend. And it very well could fall out still. But it had a nice inverse head and shoulder starting to set up. And now that it's ripping out, 225 is the next big layer. Millionaires use charts. Billionaires use astrology. No. I don't agree with that one bit. Thousandaires use astrology. Dollar heirs use astrology. Broke heirs use astrology and charts. I don't think it matters if you're a millionaire or billionaire. You know what you know. So, I don't agree. I don't believe that one bit. I think a lot of people throw things on astrology, but I think it's the most overrated line of bullshit in this market. That's just me. Did I not come on here and say with a full moon that it can be good for crypto, but that's not what's causing this. The charts are causing this and astrology is lining up, but how many times have we gone through a full moon and we dump? How many times have we gone through there's just, I mean, if you want to put all your success on astrology, you can. I'm not telling you not to do it. I'm just telling you I wouldn't hold my breath. I've seen so many gematria things and astrology things that would lead you into the slaughterhouse. The last 6 months of this astrology stuff would have got you down 75% right now. But the new moon, like I said when I started, is not bearish for crypto. That's a good thing. But I still think a lot of this is horse manure. So we'll see. Hey, that's better off. That's not bad. I've heard of Waters Above. I mean, I don't hate the guy, but I've seen his astrology be pushing it bullish and it went down 75%, and I've seen his astrology pushing it up and it's gone up. Just like when you read a chart, you can use the astrology in any way you want. Yeah, you use Jim Cramer as the inverse. But it's not always that way. Didn't Jim Cramer just tell everybody to come out and buy crypto? And then everybody said, oh, it's guaranteed to dump now. And then he said not to buy crypto. And then, so it's always the I said to do this versus they said to do that. You use it all together. Use astrology, use the charts, use the news, use it all together. And then you make an educated and formulated decision. But we're not out of the woods yet today by any means. We've got a long ways to go still. That's exactly what I think, Kryptonian. That's exactly what I think. It's playing a large game with a large audience. And 95% of the people who buy into the gematria couldn't read a chart if it bit them in the ass or slapped them in the face. That's just the truth. Most of the gematria guys will never pull out a chart. And I've noticed that firsthand. Just like most of the chart people will never dip into gematria because they don't see a valid point. I see validity in all of it. Sorry, Matt, if I'm bursting your bubble, but I've been in this space for over 4 years and I've seen exactly what these people get you. I'm just being honest. I see what they get you. What happened with the astrology in the bear market? Why didn't any new moon pump it up? I'm just saying, why did we sit through a 2-year extended bear market when we had plenty of new phases? That's all I'm saying. So I don't put all my eggs in that basket for sure. If I can't see it, I don't believe it. And that's not being disrespectful. That's just being like, I see too many. I'm in from 2016. Congratulations. So then you should be a little wiser too to understanding that a lot of these new moon things don't pan out. If you've been in since 2017, if all these new moons panned out, we'd be at oblivion right now. And I don't see us at oblivion, not even close. Let's see. That's why I sent you that message last night, Tom, because I know you do. I know you do. I'm a Sigma face. I love this audience. Let's see. I'm just trying to have a back and forth now because we're getting to the end of this live. My son wants me to get done with this. And then I'm going to the farmer's market too. So we're gonna wrap this up. Casper's up 7.5%. We actually talked about this yesterday that it was gonna retest that 1 cent area, and if it got back above it, this descending consolidation is exactly that's a descending channel that was formed through this. Now, for validity though, if I was gonna do gematria, I would watch Water Above Crypto. Water's Above. Because I've seen a lot of people try to do gematria, and he's at least the one who keeps the most progressive, in my opinion, to where most people can understand it. But then again, that's the hook. The more people you can have understand, the more people will buy into it. So that's not necessarily a win either. But you know, hey, to each their own. To each their own. That's his niche. My niche is certainly not that. If that was my niche, I'd be out homeless. Let's see. Nice descending consolidation. Casper looks like it's starting to break out, man. We hold that pivot point. This would be the start of a massive break back up, and eventually Casper's going to have to do it. But guys, I got to go. Make sure if you're looking to trade, look at my homepage. Look at the video description below. For BitUnix, they have the lowest spot and leverage trading fees, lowest maker-taker fee. You can trade worldwide. No KYC or VPN. Lowest spot and leverage trading fees. But I like it because I can send things from other exchanges. I can send things from here as well and not have to pay the extraordinary fee. This is where I have my IOTA leverage trade that's doing very well right now. I don't usually trade leverage unless I see an opportunity, but I would definitely take advantage of BitUnix. I've been trying to push that so that you wouldn't have to pay as many fees, even if you're doing a swing trade. Bitcoin's up 1,000 points right now. XRP's up 6.5%. We've got Algo up 8.6%. IOTA's almost up 4% now. XLM's almost up 5%. DGB's approaching 5%. XDC's up 4.1%. VeChain's up almost 4.5%. So here, real quick, XLM, and then I'm shutting this off. If this plays out like it's supposed to, XLM has a technical push up to 10.7 cents. And then a formation back test could be done at 10.6 possibly. Maybe it runs up a little bit higher. But it's going to have to break that formation. We're breaking out of a rising wedge, it looked like. The opposite of what Ethereum did. Ethereum broke down out of a rising wedge. But now it's starting to put together some momentum. So we'll keep watching Ethereum as well to see if we get this continuation. Ethereum's up 4.65%. And it's going to have to come back up to its resistance area eventually. Now, we are breaking out, though. So it should be able to come up to 1820 in time if this continues to push up. So enjoy your day. Don't let your emotions dictate your response. And